creating this video in response to the video posted by Devin, Jackson, and Adam. First off, gentlemen, well done. You seem to be one of the few groups figuring out how to do the HOA, yet alone respond to anyone else to get a group started. So I commend you on that. To go ahead and get started, I will share a spiritual thought I found pertaining to this particular case. It's Proverbs 22:7, and that scripture refers to debt, and it says, "The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender." We've heard this time and time again from over the pulpit, given to us by the general authorities, talking about the importance of watching our debt in our lives. Being smart with it if it was used for schooling or a mortgage, but in that, avoiding credit cards and so forth. And I feel that concept will later apply throughout the rest of this particular case. And with that, you guys talked about that as well. The first question, moving on then, is it says, what grade would you give the Rent the Runway team and what they've done? And I agree with you guys. I gave them an A, 100%. They have come up with a great business plan, and they're running with it. And next it says, I think it's going to talk about the, what they do right, what they do wrong, and the validity. And something that I love about them is they apply the business model as opposed to the business plan. The business plan, if you remember, we talked about is a set in stone. This is how it is, and if it's done right, it'll work. And they found that doesn't work because, for one, you don't know your customers. Things are going to change, and we see that. They prove that when they go out and they're trying to find the designers to sell their dresses. They fail with like the first 19, and that is because they are talking too much about price, and then they pivot. That's a pivot point for them. They say, you know what, we need to address them differently. They begin to ask questions and make a connection, and then say, you know what, we believe we have a solution to your problem. What do you think? And then that's when they begin to have success. So that's example of how using the business model is being effective. And next, they talk about the different points. I agree. The examples listed on here, the CVP, GTM, TOM, and CFF, I didn't recognize those either because they're not exactly matching that. Nonetheless, it's talking about the customer value, the marketing, and the approach to get to the customers. And what we find by that is, yes, they do apply that. First and foremost, they recognize that, yes, these women do like to dress up. It is quite the experience for them, and they're delivering that opportunity to them. So that is first and foremost their goal. And we see them making that the essence, the foundation of their business. So that's important. And then talk about the marketing. What's interesting is they have the business plan because it's flexible. It is make mistakes, learn, and change. And they're doing that. They're making mistakes. They screwed up with the designers first, and then the next mistake is they later discover they were wrong about the age group. They thought it was smaller than it was, and you guys pointed that out as well, that it's actually much bigger. You're talking about 15 to 50 rather than 15 to 30 and so forth. So they're catching a much larger market, so they're going to need to revamp their marketing for that. Different dresses, different styles, and things of that nature. The other thing with that being said, their previous marketing, you guys picked up on, only drew 60% of their customers. The other 40% were word of mouth. And that's because their marketing was failing to get them from the get-go. So again, adjusting their marketing will capture more of those that are not receiving their initial message. Okay, one thing that you guys talked about regarding validity, though, you mentioned like there was 50,000 people waiting to be members. I reread that too. That's not exactly what it's talking about. It says they have 150,000 members. And what it means about the 50,000 waiting, that means they're wanting a dress, but the dress is not available. They're waiting for that dress to become available so they can rent it. So they're on the list, but they're waiting for a dress. And that's when um, Rent the Runway recognized, hey, you know what? We're short on inventory. We have 50,000 people orders waiting for dresses. So we need to help that. And best way to do that was to get more dresses, and they did. And that's when they moved their numbers up to 1,000 dresses. And so then it starts talking about the numbers, and it says, like how many, what's the break even point? I got the same number, 3.8. You're not going to rent a dress 3.8 times, so I also rounded it to just 4. You need to rent a dress 4 times, and that breaks even. Anything more than that, and now you're making money on the dress. Something I was going to point out to you guys, I don't know if you guys saw the numbers or not, when you're talking about, how many times, let me read the question real quick. It says, how many times on average does the dress need to be rented during the first 2 months of or how many times has it been rented? Okay, so if you guys look on page 9 in the first paragraph, that's when you find the numbers. They have 1,000 dresses and they have 2,000 orders. That's within the first 2 months. So if you break that down, that is a dress is getting rented once per month. That means in 4 months, they're going to break even from their total investment. If now this is important, that is only if they keep at the rate they're going. Of course, you have this huge feed from their launch, which is excellent. The other thing they touched on was that they had a large number of orders placed because they just got done with New Year's Eve, which that's a recognized event where millions of people go get dressed up and party and do their thing. So that being said, and this takes me into the last point now, is, what route do they go? Do they put a lot of money towards getting more dresses? They had the goal of getting up to 5,000 dresses, or do they manage their money a little bit more effectively the way they were planning on it, break even point, and then move forward? And so I'm going to see if I can do this right. I'm going to show you my numbers that I crunched. And okay, so what you're going to see here, so here's again the 4 times per year, 2,000 dresses or 2,000 orders for 1,000 dresses. In about 4 months, they will break even. And then they want to get to 5,000 dresses. Well, if they remain at the 2,000 orders for 2 months, so 1,000 orders a month, that's going to prolong everything. Now, their break-even point is pushed back to almost 19 months, so a year and a half. So that means for the time being, they're losing. So now, what I mean by this, we talk about growing responsibly. At this rate, if they break even in just 4 months, they're already 2 months, and that's 2 more months. If they wait 2 more months, they'll have more numbers to see, hey, are the order of numbers remaining consistent? Are they increasing? Can we manage this 5,000? I would wait. I agree with you guys. They should not invest right away. Jackson, you brought up the good point, avoiding debt. Too many companies fail because they grow too fast. And so with that being said, that's true. Let's wait just a little bit. Let's break even. Let's get out of debt. Let's go 4 months total. And then, we're going to have more data too. Are our orders going up? Has our marketing improved like we talked about? And then we can say, hey, you know what? We do have a demand for more dresses. Let's get more dresses. Maybe not 5,000, give or take, but nonetheless, we need to wait till this 4 months is up. We need to see, was all of our orders just because of this New Year's Eve, will they go down? And that's some of the information we're going to find moving forward. So anyway, so my vote was that they should wait and just be responsible, get out of debt, and then moving forward, then they can use their own money to invest in new dresses. So that was my take on the case. I hope you guys find this is a good input as to some of the numbers and values I found. And thanks, guys. I appreciate what you're doing, and look forward to talking to whoever our group is next week. So have a good day, guys.